Happening now, a big blast of winter weather is headed our way. A look at how much snow and or ice we could get. And a Jamestown father says the lack of snow cleanup on area sidewalks is creating serious safety concerns for children. Plus, a look at the redistricting map's final draft as New York lawmakers are set to vote on the proposal this week.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
The first week of February will likely bring a blast of winter weather to our region. Thank you for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. While the weather forecast looks quiet today and tomorrow, the next weather maker will likely bring some widespread snow. Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter joining us live now with more today, Dakota, as we're tracking what's ahead. And this all just as we're recovering from some pretty bitter cold temperatures.
That's right, Justin. We've still got some more snow on the way, and not entirely sure why we don't see the graphics, but let me see if I can go fix that very quickly. And what we have right now is the low temperatures across the region. It was a cold start to the day this morning, and not sure why we don't see the graphics, but what we will do is we will talk about the there it is. We finally got it up. Thank you very much. And the low temperatures this morning, it was a cold start. 6 here in town, 10 in Clymer, so it was a cold start to the day. But the big issue really is going to be this potential winter storm that's going to be coming our way toward the middle of the week. Now, there's nothing that's concrete with this. There's a lot of questions with this, but there's two scenarios that will likely play out with this. This is scenario number one. We have the storm track that's going to pull a little bit to the north. That'll bring in the chance for maybe some sleet and some freezing rain, and the heavier snow will likely be off to our west. So the track will be closer to the southern tier. This could lay down a base layer of ice if this track is correct. The second track is further to the south. The storm center passes to the south and east. That keeps the freezing rain to the south, but that brings us the chance for heavy snow across northwestern Pennsylvania and western New York. There's nothing that's concrete with this, and there's still a lot of unknowns. So this is basically just the basics. All types of winter weather will be possible through Wednesday night through Friday. The ice or snow is going to depend on the exact track, as we just talked about. And the way I personally see it, there's at least, notice we bolded it, put it in big letters, underlined it, at least 4 inches. I think that's the base layer of the snow. Where we go from there is anyone's guess. We still need to fine tune this, so we'll keep you updated throughout the week. 25 to 30 today, at least no snow today, but there will be a good amount of sunshine with light and variable winds. We'll talk more about that winter storm plus some of the other stuff in just a little bit, Justin.
All right, Dakota, thank you. And of course, be sure to stay up to date with the free WNY News Now mobile app for iPhone and Android devices. A 37-year-old Dunkirk man died late Sunday night during a snowmobile crash in the town of Chautauqua. The Chautauqua County Sheriff's Office was dispatched to a trail off of Bloomer Road around 10 o'clock. Deputies, along with members of the Mayville Fire Department, County EMS, and Sheriff's Navigation Unit, located the male victim, later identified as Thomas Allen, at the site. Medical personnel attempted life-saving measures, but deputies say Allen was subsequently pronounced deceased at the scene by the county coroner. At this time, the cause of that crash currently under investigation. And a 21-year-old was seriously hurt after crashing into the rear end of a semi-truck stopped alongside Interstate 86 in Chautauqua County overnight. The Sheriff's Office reports that that crash happened around 2:30 in the morning Monday on I-86 in the town of North Harmony. Deputies say a 21-year-old man, who has not been identified pending notification of his family, struck a tractor-trailer that was pulled over on the shoulder of the highway. The man was the sole occupant of that vehicle and suffered serious injuries as a result of the collision. He was airlifted to Hammett Hospital in Erie, PA for treatment. Deputies say their investigation remains ongoing and charges might be pending against the 21-year-old driver. And a Jamestown father is speaking out about unshoveled sidewalks, which are forcing pedestrians, many of whom are children traveling to school, to walk in the street. Our Julia Gress with more.
Sidewalks not being shoveled for our children to walk safely.
Bowen Street resident Peter Gage, who has been shoveling a path several blocks so his 2 kids, as well as the rest of the children in the neighborhood, can get to school.
Nobody's enforcing this. This is supposed to be a law. As far as I know, it's the residents' job to shovel their own property. So where is the help.
Though Gage says there are several disabled people and vacant lots in the neighborhood, he still believes it should be someone's duty to shovel in front of their residences, whether that is through help by hiring out or by neighbors pitching in.
Shovel your sidewalk for your kids. Go an extra. If there's an abandoned house or there's nobody living there, shovel it. It's actually 2 minutes.
Gage believes the only way to solve the problem is through official enforcement, a point he stressed to Councilman Brent Sheldon and Randy DeVersa last week.
It is the homeowner's responsibility or the tenant's responsibility to keep those sidewalks clear. The city does not have the manpower or the equipment to keep all the sidewalks clear. They do have a couple of machines that do run designated routes around the schools, and some of the main thoroughfares, they'll keep those clean as well.
Sheldon says that fines could be handed out for those not following city code, as long as the director of development has the staffing to do so.
Community is very helpful here. You know, neighbor helping neighbor. We really need to see more of that here in Jamestown to help clear these sidewalks.
Funding from the American Rescue Plan Act could help pave the way for additional snow removal equipment, according to Councilman DeVersa.
There is a number of pieces of equipment that the DPW has put in for, and I am a proponent of that. It's badly needed over the years. We have a very aging fleet.
$1.26 million in funding is set to be split between the Department of Public Works and the Parks Department, with the final budget being finalized Monday. Julia Gress, WNY News Now.
Julia, thank you. If that funding is approved tonight, it could be delivered and equipment could be on the streets of Jamestown as early as 2 weeks from now. Well, New York's mask mandate that requires face coverings in all public places unless businesses or venues require a vaccination mandate will be extended until at least February 10th. The news comes just days after a judge in the state ruled that Governor Kathy Hochul lacked the power to put that mandate in place, and then just a day after that, another judge restored the requirement. The mandate requires masks in schools, healthcare facilities, homeless shelters, jails, public transit, and any other indoor public area where vaccination status isn't required for entry. Coronavirus infections spiked in New York around Christmas, thanks to the emergence of the highly infectious Omicron variant, but declined in recent weeks. New reported COVID infections dropped from almost 70,000 a day in New York during the first half of this month to about 20,000 last week. Governor Hochul says the mask mandate could be lifted if cases continue to fall. And lawmakers could vote as soon as this week to redraw congressional districts in New York as the Empire State is set to lose a seat in Congress. Democratic legislators in the state released this draft of what the plan could look like yesterday. New York's 23rd Congressional District, which currently includes Jamestown, would expand north to incorporate portions of southern Erie and Wyoming counties. The zone would also stretch east to Broome County and include 14 counties total. The new plan will not include Ithaca or Binghamton, two cities that were previously part of it. The entire state legislature would need to approve the proposal before enacted. The plan is already taking heat from some in the state's Republican Party. New York GOP Chairman Nick Langworthy, in a statement yesterday, called the maps an outrageous attempt at rigging the election and says the voters spoke loud and clear in rejecting their partisan power grab last year and in 2014. As WNY News Now continues tax season, it's now underway, a warning for those seeking quick returns this year. And later, we hear from the Red Cross as New York struggles with a blood donation shortage. How you can help, just ahead. Stay with us as WNY News Now continues.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
Home fires occur most often in winter. Keep anything that can catch fire at least 3 feet from heating equipment. And never use an oven to heat your home. Stay in the kitchen when frying, grilling, or broiling food. Turn space heaters off when you leave the room or go to bed. Make sure all vents are clear of snow and ice to allow carbon monoxide to vent outside. Have your furnace, heating system, and chimneys serviced each year by a qualified professional. Learn more at www.usfa.fema.gov.
Brought to you by the Chautauqua Safety Village and the Jamestown Fire Department.
Welcome to Honest John's Pizzeria, where you are the most important customer.
Everything from freshly made subs to the best of pizza and wings, Honest John's has it all.
And don't forget the ice cream!
Order online today or check out our 2 great locations with buffets ready for every appetite.
Don't I have the best job in the world?
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Tax return season opened last week, and Congressman Tom Reed is reminding his constituents to file their taxes sooner rather than later.
The IRS has an unprecedented backlog. We had a call with the IRS commissioner yesterday discussing these issues, encouraging them to make sure they use all the resources available, try to return to some form of normalcy when it comes to staffing levels at the IRS to try to get that backlog for last year's returns addressed.
Now, he explains that filing earlier would have helped taxpayers ensure that potential issues with their IRS returns won't happen this year. Reed's office recommends that irs.gov is the best place for people to go to see if you're eligible for an earned income tax credit. Now, those in need of assistance in dealing with the IRS are asked to call his courting office directly, and they can get help. The American Red Cross has declared its first ever blood donation shortage. They say the Omicron surge in winter season has led to fewer people showing up to donate. WENY's Alexandra Dern with more.
The Red Cross's Regional Communications Manager, Meg Rossman, weighed me in on why this has become a nationwide issue. She also told me how people can get involved and help people in need.
You have COVID, you have winter weather, you have staffing and supply chain challenges. So it's kind of all coming together to create, this perfect storm.
This is the first time the nation has experienced a blood donation crisis.
We're really calling on the American public now more than ever to come out and make those appointments in the days and the weeks to come to help make sure that patients in need are receiving that life-saving blood.
Rossman stresses how important blood donations really are. When blood donations are short, stressed doctors are working against the clock to help their patients. The demand is outpacing the supply.
We always strive to keep a 5-day supply of all types of blood on hand at all times. But unfortunately, because of this shortage with some types of blood, we're actually in the last few weeks been working with less than a day's supply.
Across the Twin Tiers, blood drives will be happening in the days and weeks to come, providing plenty of opportunities to donate.
You can call 1-800-RED-CROSS, or you can actually download the free Red Cross Blood Donor app, and it'll also show you upcoming appointments.
Rossman urges locals to keep their appointments locked in until they are absolutely sure they cannot make it. The need is that dire.
The need for blood is constant. Someone is in need of life-saving blood every 2 seconds, and the only resource are our volunteer donors. So you're really helping us to build back that supply and maintain it for those patients in need.
Alexandra Dern reporting. Alexandra, thank you. For more, check out redcross.org for a list of blood drives near you. Well, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is pushing for $1.5 billion in funding to stop the spread of illegal firearms in New York. It comes as violent gun incidences are on the rise in the state. Speaking at a press conference Sunday, Schumer said the money would specifically go to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, who would in turn direct its focus on the iron pipeline, gun trafficking, and states that export guns to New York.
The bottom line is there's something called the Firearms Freeway. It's I-95. And in southern states with lax laws, gun traffickers, gun dealers buy guns, put them in the trunks of their car, and bring them up here. The best place to stop them is at the source.
The senator goes on to say that 95% of guns used in crimes in New York come from out of state. That's why he says the ATF needs to be involved to stop the spread. And according to the National Institutes for Children's Health Quality, over 20,000 babies are born each year dependent on illegal or prescription drugs. The type of opioid withdrawal that occurs in infants and children is known as a result of neonatal abstinence syndrome, or NAS. Brendan Scanlon tells us what's being done to address it.
Pennsylvania lawmakers passed House Bill 253, which provides $225 million to the frontline healthcare workforce.
It's a comprehensive approach, a bipartisan approach, and as the governor indicated, it demonstrates that what we can do when we work together and put our heads together when there's something that needs to be addressed. So,
both sides of the aisle calling it a major win.
This is a great bill and a great example of what we can do when we're all together.
House Bill 253, now Act 2 of 2022, provides more than just the $225 million for healthcare facilities. It also creates the Opioid Abuse Child Impact Task Force.
The House Bill 253 was specifically designed for supporting and helping kids who have been, under no choice of their own, addicted, born with addiction.
House Bill 253 sponsor Representative Clint Allett first introduced the bill a few years ago to help babies exposed to addictive opiate drugs while in utero, who then suffer from neonatal abstinence syndrome. NAS can cause body shakes, trouble sleeping, breathing problems, poor feeding, and more.
And there are some challenging days early on. There's some things that we can do in Pennsylvania to help them.
After serving as a vehicle for much-needed healthcare relief, Allett's bill is now law.
Able to get across the finish line as a vehicle here this week to be able to also, in conjunction with supporting kids, also being able to support our hospitals.
Allett says the task force will consist of lawmakers, addiction professionals, the Department of Human Services, and more. He also says the task force will begin working as soon as next month. In Harrisburg, Brendan Scanlon reporting.
Brendan, thank you. Coming up, a look ahead at this year's Super Bowl matchup, and later, a look at regional dog show that drew in thousands of top pups from across our area. But first, when we return, our full weather forecast as we're tracking some intense snow that could be coming our way. Stay with us as WNY News Now returns.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
There's an old saying, there's no news in the newsroom. Well, it's true. The time I spend at the anchor desk is just part of my day. Most of our time is spent gathering stories in the community, stories that matter to you. We can't do it alone, and we need your help. When you see breaking news or have a news tip we should know about, drop us a line on Facebook today, email our news desk, or call our newsroom at 488-7226 so we can bring those stories straight back to you.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor.
Testicular cancer is the leading form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35.
1 in 250 men will be diagnosed with testicular cancer.
But 98% will survive if detected early.
As a survivor, I believe early detection is the key. Learn how to do a testicular self-exam and other important facts about testicular cancer at oneball4tc.com.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
Fast, accurate, and everyday. First Defense Weather.
Yeah, this year's Super Bowl really is going to be interesting here. A live look over Chautauqua Lake, and we see some ruts currently in the snow and the ice on Lake Erie, on Chautauqua Lake is what I meant to say. And so likely people have been taking their snowmobiles out on the lake, and of course the ice thickness on the lake now is thick enough for that. So as we keep mentioning, make sure you know the thickness of the ice before you go out on it. Test it to make sure it's thick enough for what you want to do. And also, if you not want to go out out on the ice. The ski resort's really going to be the place to be with a good amount of sunshine. You're not going to have to deal with snow or winds today. So bases and surfaces all looking good at all the ski resorts across the area. Now tonight, we do have a small window this evening of seeing the International Space Station. Comes up at 7:19 tonight. It's going to be moving northwest to north-northwest. That's going to be the direction of movement across your field of view. It's only going to be visible for 2 minutes. So again, it's a small window, but if you are up, which you probably will be, at a little before 7:30 tonight, look out, get away from the city lights, see if you can see the ISS. And it's going to be at that little short window, but there is a chance of seeing it this evening as we will see some overall clear skies right now. As we take a look at the HD News Now cam, we actually have some sunshine peeking downtown right now. The temperatures are in the lower 20s. There it is. The computer is back. 26 as a noon hour right now with a variable wind of 3, so we have no wind chill index out there right now. So that is the good news. And the next thing we're really keeping an eye on really is nothing through the day. High pressure has started to build in, so we're going to see this high pressure stay today and tomorrow, but a big change arrives as we go into Wednesday. So here's the computer modeling for you. Shows you, really nothing through the day. We will ultimately see a few clouds come our way later today. Should break apart a little bit. Then we'll see, I think, more clouds through the overnight hours. I do think filtered sunshine through the day tomorrow. I don't think it's going to be as sunny as it is today, but we will ultimately see a few more clouds dotting the sky tomorrow, but we will stay dry. This is ahead of the next system that comes our way on Wednesday. And let's expand the view out here, show you one computer model. As we mentioned during first weather, there's 2 scenarios that will likely play out with this winter storm Wednesday through Friday. This is one computer model showing you how the main impacts will to us is mainly going to be heavy snow. This pink line right here is going to be that sleet, wintry mix, some ice. That likely is going to stay south if this is correct. This is another computer model showing how the sleet and freezing rain is pushed a little bit further to the north. That will likely keep snowfall totals down while keeping a little bit of an icing issue across the southern tier. Nothing is concrete with this storm yet. There's still a boatload of questions we still need to answer. So unfortunately, we cannot give you exact details as of yet. But I do think by the time we go into tomorrow, we'll have a little bit more of a clearer answer. 12 to 21 tonight, mainly clear early. Get out and spot the ISS if you can at around 7:20. So as we take a look at tomorrow on the Ultimate Satellite Solution 7-day, you'll see milder up to 36. A little bit of a wintry mix comes our way early on Wednesday. We'll ultimately shift to either some wintry precipitation with freezing rain, then to heavy snow Thursday. That'll continue into Friday. Temperatures go down back into the upper teens, and the weekend is mainly looking dry at this point, Justin, but the first half will likely be frigid.
Yeah, that'll be some needed relief for sure Saturday, Sunday once we get through whatever is on the way. Dakota, we know you'll keep us updated. Thank you. And as you mentioned, the Los Angeles Rams and Cincinnati Bengals, they're headed to the Super Bowl. You can see fans celebrating the news following last night's championship games. The Bengals beat the Kansas City Chiefs 27-24. The Rams won 20-17 in their game against the 49ers. The Bengals will reach the Super Bowl for the first time since 1988. In the 2019 Super Bowl, the Rams lost to the New England Patriots 13-3. They'll get another shot on February 13th when the Super Bowl kicks off at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. And former President Donald Trump says if elected, he would pardon rioters in the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. He told supporters at a Texas rally Saturday that people who have been charged have been treated unfairly.
If I run and if I win, we will treat those people from January 6th fairly. We will treat them fairly. And if it requires pardons, we will give them pardons because they are being treated so unfairly. This hasn't happened to all of the other atrocities that took place recently. Nothing like this has happened. What that Unselect committee is doing and what the people are doing that are running those prisons, it's a disgrace. It's a disgrace.
Now, the former president did not explicitly say if he would run again in 2024. The Department of Justice has charged more than 700 in connection with the attack on the Capitol. Well, the expectations are high, but will Russia deliver? The United Nations Security Council is set to meet today about the situation at the Ukrainian border. And as Britt Conway reports for us, U.S. officials say they're looking for the council to consider what's at stake.
You don't amass 100,000 troops if you don't have intentions to use them.
Whether Russian President Vladimir Putin decides to further invade Ukraine remains to be seen. Today, another push for diplomacy with a meeting of the United Nations Security Council. Russia insists it has no intention of attacking, but has shown no sign of de-escalation. One Russian expert has implied the show of force is just that, a show.
The first goal is to attract the attention of the West to Russians' concerns about the security system in Europe. And Putin stated it quite bluntly that the West doesn't want to listen to us, so we need to do something dramatic to get the Western attention.
Russia sees the growing support for Ukraine from NATO in terms of weaponry, training, and personnel as a threat to its own security. Ukraine has warned Russia is trying to destabilize the country before any invasion. In truth, tension between the two nations goes back nearly a decade, when Russia annexed Crimea in 2014, and Russian separatists took control of the Donbas region. The history is complicated, but the U.S. ambassador to the UN says its expectations for the future of this conflict are straightforward.
We've made clear that we're prepared to address our concerns, Ukrainian concerns and Russian concerns at the diplomatic table, but it cannot be done on the battlefield.
I'm Britt Conway reporting.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
Remember when you were a kid, huddled around the television waiting for your school to close? Well, we don't get snow days. When winter weather hits, count on the First Defense Weather Team for a look into the future where the snow is headed next. Live radar showing you the scope of the storm, and real-time reports from the field. So when it matters most, stay with First Defense Weather.
Catch your First Defense forecast daily on WNY News Now.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
He makes fun of his friend who vapes.
He would never try it.
She's into soccer.
She's on the honor roll.
She's just not the type.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way, my kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping. Maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Well, after missing a year because of the pandemic, the Erie Kennel Club Dog Show was back this weekend. 156 different breeds of dogs took over the Bayfront Convention Center. Erie News Now's Elspeth Meisner shows us the work that took to bring it back.
Another weekend where the Bayfront Convention Center was busy with events. This time, it was packed with dogs, a record-setting amount.
We have almost 1,300 dogs entered in the show this year, which is the most ever in the history of us holding the show here at the Bayfront Convention Center since 2009.
People traveled from Ohio, New York, Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and even Canada for the annual show.
Hundreds of dogs participated in this weekend's dog show, some of them quite small, while other dogs were quite large.
One of the dogs that competed and won was 4-year-old Marley with his owner, Dan Buchwald.
Lineup of dogs, I have some others, and they're all doing very, very well, but yesterday he was the big star of the show.
Marley won the breed and terrier group and best in show. And Buchwald, who's been attending and participating in shows for around 40 years, shared the secret to winning.
There's not a whole lot of strict training involved. There is some, but mostly you have to create a bond between you and the dog. And they have to understand what you want, and you have to understand what they're willing to give you.
And while he said winning is wonderful, he said it's the friendship that's most important.
The most important thing is to love them and respect them and give them a dignified life. And if you do that, you have a friend for life.
Elspeth Meisner, Erie News Now.
Elspeth, thank you. Marley and heck, all of them look so cute out there. Good to see they're back. Let us know what you think about these stories and more at WNY News Now on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We thank you for joining us today for a check of some local news. And we remind you, while we have your ear, to be sure to subscribe to us on Channel 716 on Roku. It's a free local app right here in Jamestown, New York. Channel 716. Be sure to add it to your lineup today. Well, that's it for us. We'll leave you with this look over Chautauqua Lake. Have a great day. We'll see you back here tomorrow, live in